If you have been refreshing Zillow every single morning, convinced that the market is going to crash, and you're finally going to snag that dream home for 2019 prices, we need to talk. Seriously, put the phone down, grab your coffee, and pull up a chair. It's February 3rd, 2026, and I just got the preliminary January numbers from the Greater Greenville Association of Realtors. These are the files that most people won't see for another 2 weeks. And I'm going to be honest with you, the data is doing something very weird. It's not crashing, it's not booming, it's getting boring. Now, I know boring doesn't sell newspapers, boring doesn't get clicks on CNN, but if you are a real person trying to move your family to the upstate, boring is literally the sexiest word in the English language right now. It means that chaos is over. And in this video, I'm doing a deep dive, a full investigation into what is actually happening in the Greenville, Anderson, and Spartanburg markets. We're talking about a 26% inventory surge, the secret condo market that nobody is watching, and why interest rates at 6.1% might actually be your sweet spot. I'm Karishma Jones, and this is your January 2026 market deep dive. Let's start with the biggest piece of evidence I have at my desk, the inventory. For the last 3 years, buying a house in Greenville felt like an episode of the Hunger Games. You see a house pop up on Thursday, and if you didn't see it by Friday morning, it was gone. You were waiving inspections, you were overpaying, you were stressed out of your mind. Here is the good news. That era is officially dead. According to the preliminary data, we now have 5,309 active single family listings. That is a massive 26% increase compared to this time last year. Let me explain why this matters. Imagine you walk into a grocery store and there is only one loaf of bread left. You don't care what it costs, you don't care if it's squished, you buy it because you have to eat. That was the market in 2024 and 2025. But now the shelves are fully stocked. When you have 5,000 options, the psychology of the market flips. Days on market has jumped to 63 days. That's up nearly 17%. This means the average house is sitting for 2 full months before going under contract. For you, this means you get your weekends back. You don't have to rush. You can actually schedule a second showing. You can bring your dad, who knows about construction, to look at the roof. You can finally have the luxury of choice. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, Karishma, if there are so many houses, why aren't they dirt cheap? This is the number one question I get in my DMs. And let's take a look at the math. The median sales price for a single family home in Greenville is $312,240. That's a 0.7% increase year over year. Basically flat. Why isn't it crashing? Because demand is still there. Pending sales are actually up 0.1%. Here's the analogy I want you to use. The market is absorbing this new inventory like a sponge. We are pouring more water, which are the houses, onto the sponge, which is the buyer's demand, but the sponge is soaking it up just as fast to keep the floor from getting wet. So, this is what economists call a soft landing. A crash is when price drops 10 to 20%, and we aren't seeing that. A correction is when prices dip slightly. A soft landing is what we have right now. Prices flatten out, volatility disappears, and the market takes a breath. So, if you are waiting for $200,000 homes to come back to Greenville, don't hold your breath. But if you are waiting for a time where you won't overpay by $20,000 due to a bidding war, that time is right now. Okay, so let's get into the insider stuff. The stuff most agents won't tell you because they're too busy chasing big luxury listings. If you want a deal, I mean a real negotiate the price, get your closing costs paid kind of deal, you need to look at the condo and townhome market. This data comes from the December sector split, and it tells a wildly different story than the single family home market. So, median price is down 1.4% to 285K. Days on market went from 98 days to 114 days. So just think about that. If a townhome has been sitting on the market for 114 days, that is almost 4 months. How is that seller feeling? They are tired. They are paying 2 mortgages. They are stressed out, honey. This sector is the soft spot of the upstate. Why? Because condos and townhomes are more sensitive to HOA fees. When you combine a 6% interest rate with a $300 per month HOA fee, it pushes some buyers out of the qualification zone. But if you can qualify, you are walking into a candy store, honey. We have 4.5 months of supply here, and that is bordering on a balanced market, which is 5 to 6 months. So here's a strategy tip. If you're a first-time buyer or maybe a travel nurse looking for a landing pad, go find a townhome. Go find a townhome that's been on the market for 90 days. Offer $10K under list price and ask them to pay for a 2-to-1 rate buy down. And I'm telling you, this is where the wins can happen right now. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the interest rates. As of late January, the 30-year fixed rate has stabilized to around 6.10%. Now, I know we all missed the 3% days. We are never seeing those again unless the economy completely implodes. And trust me, you don't really want that. But 6.1% is actually a magic number. At 7%, everyone freezes. At 6%, people start moving again. That's why pending sales are also up 6.1%. The lock-in effect, where people couldn't sell their homes because they didn't want to lose their low rates, that's finally thawing out. Life happens, people get married, they have babies, they get divorced, and they relocate for jobs. Life is stronger than an interest rate. So for my sellers that are watching this, you need to hear this loud and clear. Just because rates are stable doesn't mean you can price your home like a palace. 18% of active listings right now have had to cut their price. That is nearly 1 in 5 homes. So the market is rejecting aspirational pricing. If your neighbor sold for $400K in 2022, you might only get $390 or $400K today, but you have to fix the roof, you have to paint the walls, you got to make sure your floors are clean in order to get that. Buyers are picky right now, and you have to be perfect. So what should you do? So what do we do with all this information? Here's your prescription. Your game plan for the next 30 days. If you are a buyer, stop rushing. Go see the house. See it twice because you can. Drive the neighborhood during the day, drive the neighborhood at night, drive the neighborhood during rush hour. Negotiate. With inventory up 26%, you have leverage. Don't be afraid to ask for repairs. Don't be afraid to ask for closing costs. The worst they could say is no. Check the stale listings. Ask your agent or me to send you a list of homes that have been on the market for 60 or more days. That's where the gold is buried. Now, if you're a seller, price it right on day one. If you overprice it, you will sit. And if you sit, people will assume something is wrong with your house. Number 2 would be staging matters. In a market with 5,000 other options, your house needs to look like a Pinterest board. Clean it, declutter it, light it up. Look, the headlines are going to keep trying to scare you. They'll say crash coming or boom coming, but the data on the ground in Greenville is clear, it's steady, it's boring, it's full of opportunity if you know where to look. I have spent the last week updating my 2026 upstate relocation plan. I've compiled a list of new construction properties that may or may not be listed on the market, and I call it my hidden inventory list. You can get access to this list by clicking the link down below that says start your relocation plan. You could choose to download the list, or you could choose to have a conversation with me and start your custom relocation plan. The choice is yours. I want to give you both options, but if you are thinking about moving to Greenville, Anderson, or any other town or city in the upstate this year, you need this information. And the link is right down below. I'll see you in the next one.